Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So in today's head-to-head comparison, let's take a look at the 2025 Lexus NX350 Premium and the 2025 BMW X1 xDrive28i. I borrowed these from Hendrick Lexus Northlake and Hendrick BMW Northlake, so take a look at their links as well as the full detailed reviews if you'd like to see more information on both of these models. Now let's start off with their MSRPs. For the BMW, these start at $40,900 versus $44,700 for the Lexus, so it is slightly more. However, in today's video, the Lexus is closer to $51,000 versus $52,000 for the BMW. So overall, these are very similar depending on how you spec them too. Now, powering the BMW, this is the 2-liter inline 4-cylinder turbo. It's paired to a 7-speed automatic. It pumps out 241 horsepower, 295 pound-feet of torque. For the Lexus, this is powered by a 2.4-liter inline 4-cylinder turbo. It's paired to an 8-speed automatic, and it pumps out 275 horsepower, 317 pound-feet of torque. Now, both of these have an all-wheel drive system. The BMW weighs in just over 3,700 pounds versus just over 4,000 pounds for the Lexus, meaning that the 0 to 60 time for the BMW, 5.4 seconds versus 6.5 seconds for the Lexus, even though it has a little bit more power. As far as fuel economy goes, you're also looking at 24 and 33 for the BMW and then 21 and 28 for the Lexus. As we move on to the exterior styling now, you'll notice we have a much different look. There's the kidney grille for the BMW. This model is equipped with the forward-facing camera. There's the sensor for the distance pacing, all the parking sensors, dark housing for the LEDs up front. For this Lexus, the sensor is the Lexus badge itself, no forward-facing camera for the similar price. However, there's all the parking sensors, there's fog lights in the lower section, and then LEDs for all of the lighting. And then a much different design for both of the hoods. A little bit more sleek looking versus being a little bit more angular on the BMW. Now, as we work our way to the side, wheel options will vary. You do have some options. The BMW is going to offer the M Sport brakes versus just standard brakes for the Lexus there. We do have a plastic fender arch for the Lexus versus being body colored with the lines there for the BMW. Now, the Lexus only has a turn signal on the side mirrors versus the camera in the turn signal on the BMW. The Lexus also just has a standard sunroof versus a full moonroof over on the BMW. Now, as we take a step back, you'll notice that we have much different designs in their shapes. So the Lexus is a little bit more luxury focused with all of these slim and sleek lines versus a little bit more of a boxy style with the X1. Now, as we work our way to the back, you'll notice some more of these sporty elements in the spoiler here. The wiper blade is in the lower section. This has LEDs, all of the parking sensors, some more fins in that lower section. And then this model also has remote start. You can use the key fob too to open up that liftgate, where for the size, it's actually pretty good. You do get a little bit of storage underneath the floor, so you can place in additional items. You have this cover here, and you can fold down the back seats. You cannot do that operation from the back, however. So you do have to go around and fold them down from the second row. Now, as we work our way back to the Lexus, you'll notice we have a much different design with the spoiler here. Wiper blade is in the lower section too. There is a bar that runs right through that power liftgate there. Backup camera, all the sensors too. Some plastic features in that lower section. Now, we don't have remote start for this, but we have the same key operations in order to open up the liftgate there. Now, in back, seems to be probably about a similar amount of space. However, underneath the floor, you have a little bit different of a shape with the storage, but you can still place in some items. And then we have some hooks here, 12 volts. You can fold the seats down, but again, you have to do that from inside. And then there's the 2 buttons up top to easily close that. Now, we do not have the proximity door handle on the back here, but I have been able to find on the passenger side, I can just grab the front door handle and it unlocks the back. So it's just not properly set up here. Interiors are also going to vary, different options. We have Harman Kardon, a little bit of storage there. And then here's the release in order to fold down these seats. Now, at 5'10", I have a good bit of space. There's also the vents, you have some auxiliaries, a little bit of storage. This seat is moved up a lot. So if it was in this section here, I would still have a good bit of space. As far as headroom goes, I have maybe 1.5 inches or so. And like I said, you can recline these seats just to get a little bit more comfortable. Right in the middle, we have the armrest with the cup holders. You have a good bit of visibility here with the large windows on both sides there. So it's very easy to see, especially from the back. Now, as we work our way to the Lexus, The door handles don't actually move. We do have the proximity door handle though, so just push on the electronic button on the inside, and that is how you can open this up. Now we have a much different interior, of course. We have the window controls, lock and unlock, a little bit less storage down below, and then we have the electronic release. You can pull it twice in this direction to manually open it up if you need to. And then we have the seats with the adjustment up top in order to fold those down. And once in back, we have storage pockets, we have vents, auxiliaries down below. I will say not quite as much leg space here, and this seat is even about the same as the passenger one on the BMW. Of course, this one is moved back, but I still have plenty of space here. And then I have a lot more headroom, probably about 2 inches or so slightly more than in the BMW. These seats do recline too, which is nice. And then right in the middle, you get the armrest and cup holders. You have a much different view here, however. That is a much smaller window than in the BMW there, but you can still see around. Now, since I have the full detailed reviews, let's just highlight some of the key factors. Memory seating adjustments, you have power folding side mirrors, storage in that lower section, the automatic front seats here, and then we are greeted with a solid leather steering wheel. You get paddle shifters on both sides, distance pacing, lane keeping assist, mode, all of that. You have volume too. And then to go through the gauge cluster here, we have some information over on that left side that you can scroll through. So you have a good bit that you can actually look at here, including your adaptive cruise, any messages, and a lot more info that you can go through. So pretty configurable. Everything else is going to be fixed, however. Now you have your fuel cap, liftgate release. You have a little bit of storage down below. We do have the power operation for the telescoping steering wheel. There's no head-up display for this model. And then with the infotainment system, you have some temperature dials on both sides, and then you have all the information right in the middle where you can go through all of these settings to get that set up the way that you'd like. You have your phone, you can get into some of this driving information with all of the standard safety features. You can get into your all-wheel drive system. You have shortcuts to your music and navigation. And then your climate adjustments are underneath that. So you can get into those. This has heated and ventilated seats. You have some other shortcuts to get through all of that information, and then your climate adjustments are underneath that too. You have volume, some defrosters, air vents. You get wireless charging where you can open this up, where you get even more auxiliaries and hidden storage. A little bit of storage, more auxiliaries. You have a few different driving modes too, and that will change the color on the gauge cluster there. You'll also notice it will pop up on the top of the infotainment system. You get some cup holders, and then with the camera system, you have the adjustable guidelines. You also have a few different angles there too. You have drive, park, you have traction control, an off-road setting with your downhill assist, auto holding, and the e-brake. And then with the armrest, you can actually open it up 2 different ways. So that is a neat feature. You get storage in the glove box there. Garage door buttons are up top, and then you do get a sunglass holder, and then the adjustments for the sunroof there. And then here's a look at visibility. It's still pretty easy to see, even though that is a smaller window over the left side, or the right side there. But as we work our way to the BMW, for this door panel, we do have a much different design for the door handles too. But you also get the memory seating adjustments, power folding side mirrors, liftgate release, nearly the same. And then as we hop into the BMW, we have the leather steering wheel. Start button is in a different spot, but we also have paddle shifters for this. You have cruise control settings, not quite as many buttons to go over, but on this right side here, you can use these controls to go through the digital gauge cluster. It is going to be a little bit more configurable when you go through some of this information here. So I'd say this is probably about the same amount, maybe a little bit less to be honest, but you have this layout here so you can go through that, and this model has the head-up display. So you can go through those options as needed. Now you have no storage over here. You have your headlight adjustments. There's also interior lighting, which the Nissan did have. And then with this infotainment system, you have a lot of widgets that you can go through. I'd say it's a little bit more user-friendly, but you do have a little bit more that you can also go through. You have shortcuts on that left side, only heated seats, however, so they're not ventilated, and you have the heated steering wheel along with your temperature adjustments too. You have one air vent underneath that. There's wireless charging, some auxiliaries. You get storage underneath here, so we have a much different interior design. You do have a few different driving modes, so you can go through all of these. and you can change the interior lighting depending on the mode. You have some other functions that you can get into, and then you do get that 360 camera system. So you have a little bit more visibility, especially with the 3D view and that forward-facing camera, just to give you that extra visibility. Now you have a much smaller center armrest just because you have additional space down below. But you have space in the glove box there, and then garage door buttons, no sunglass holder up top, and then you have the controls for the sunshade and sunroof. And as you can tell, you have larger windows, so it is going to be easier to see over both shoulders compared to in the Lexus. But with the exteriors and interiors wrapped up, let's get both of these pretty much $50,000 SUVs out on the road and see how they compare. And behind the wheel now for the X1 second gear, here we go. And we're up to speed with a mild acceleration. It's definitely pretty peppy, has an adequate amount of power for this type of vehicle. But behind the wheel for the X1, we have a really nice layout, really well refined too. Even with a truck passing there, you really can't hear the traffic. So it's definitely insulated too to give you that luxury vibe. The drive is nice. We have a good seating position too, where you can see most of the hood. We have the height adjustable seat too, so if you need to adjust it further, you can. But it's a great vehicle to drive. We do have a normal suspension, so there's no modes with the suspension. We do have the different driving modes for your acceleration, but the suspension definitely has a great ride to it. And for its smaller size, you can fit in a lot of items. So it's a good packaging if you're looking for a smaller size vehicle. You want that luxury, you want some refinements, and you have a lot of different options that you can go with, just depending on how you would like to spec your X1. So it's a great option. You can go with the M35i if you want even more power. So behind the wheel of the Lexus from second gear in sport mode, here we go. And we are up to speed with a mild acceleration. Now the paddle shifters are surprisingly responsive. I just don't know if they will be used that often in this vehicle. This is a little bit more luxury focused, well refined, not quite as sporty as some other competitors. But it's a nice vehicle to drive. We have a great layout, seats are super comfortable. It's also quiet too. The road noise and wind noise, traffic noise is what you would expect from a luxury brand. So it's very, very nice and minimal, which is great to see. You sit kind of how you would in a smaller SUV like this too. We can't really see a lot of the hood though, which in some of the other competitors you can see the hood. So just a little bit different of a design. We do have the adjustment, however, to raise and lower this seat. So just depending on where you'd like to sit, you have a good visibility out of the front window there. And just a nice place to be. Suspension is really great over bridge bumps and things like that. It's absorbing them very well. And this would make for a great daily driver. Lexus is in the top of reliability. So if you were looking for a vehicle to own for a decade or more, this is a great option to consider with the ease of maintenance and their reliability that they've had for quite some time. So back from our test drive now with the BMW X1 and the Lexus NX350. I know those were short test drives, but you can take a look at the full detailed reviews for more driving impressions. Basically, the biggest difference between both of these models is that the X1, I feel, is going to be a lot more sporty feeling. It is a little bit smaller, it is a quicker vehicle than the Lexus, but it is going to have some of those sporty characteristics compared to the Lexus. The Lexus is going to be a little bit more laid back. They're still luxury focused, however, so they're going to ride and drive very similarly, aside from being a little bit more sporty with the BMW. So if you're not interested in some of those characteristics, the Lexus is going to be a great option. Even if you're not interested, the BMW is also going to be a great option too. So we have very nice vehicles, a little bit larger of a vehicle with the Lexus, a little bit better visibility with the BMW. So we do have some trade-offs between both of these $50,000 SUVs. So comment down below, would you rather go with the Lexus or the BMW? Let me know your thoughts. If you enjoyed today's video, give it a huge thumbs up and consider smashing that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with our daily uploads. I will see you all in the next video.